Hello viewers, this is Wolf here. Welcome to Wolf's Haven and to some more Monster Hunter figure reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Capcom Monster Hunter Monster Collection Gallery Vol.2. So of course, this is another set of those miniature dioramas that I unboxed before when I did the Volume 1 set. So we're going to be seeing what's included with all of this and see what the quality is like for some of these monsters here. So if we take a look to the side of the box and see what's included. So Volume 2 is actually going to feature Valstrax, Silver Rathalos, Nargacuga, and on the other side, we're going to get Keizu, Zinogre, and Rathian. So let's jump into this and see what these look like. I think definitely, I'm always looking forward to Zinogre, but this time around, I definitely want to check out what the Valstrax looks like at this scale. Alright, so let's see what we have in here. So of course this is a box of 6, just like the previous one. So let's see what we get here. So with box number 1, just open this up. So we got a white base, and Keizu is going to be number 1 here. Which I'm sure you guys already know my thoughts on Keizu. So we're going to look at number 2. Alright, cool. So we get Zinogre in number 2 here. I do kind of like the way that the base looks. It almost kind of seems like a bit of a recolor to some of the to one of the other bases that they used in Volume 1. They just kind of made the ground a bit more brown, but I think the grass is still in the same spot. So on to box 3. So we have Rathian here, which of course we're going to have to assemble. So box 4. Oh, okay, here we go. So this is Valstrax. We have Valstrax here. I actually do like how the paint is looking on Valstrax's wings. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what this looks like. I believe that's supposed to be Crimson Glow Valstrax. I don't think that's regular Valstrax. So for box number 5, we get Nargacuga right here. The ground base looks very similar to Zinogre's, actually. And last but not least, this one's going to be Silver Rathalos for sure. So here we have Silver Rathalos in the packaging here, looking quite shiny on the wings and the main body as well. And a bit of a rocky base here. So I'm going to assemble these all together and then take a look at them individually. Alright, so here we have all of the Monster Gallery Volume 2 monsters completely assembled and up on their stands. So if we take a look at them, I guess we'll start off with Rathian here, which, to be honest, I'm actually quite surprised that they went with Rathian, considering that they included Silver Rathalos into this. Usually they include, like, the two wyvern couples, like, in their same form. So usually it would be Rathalos and Rathian, and then Silver Rathalos and Gold Rathian. So it's kind of interesting that they did something different here, featuring regular Rathian. But here, with Rathian as the focus, the one thing that I do like about this is I do like the pose. This is definitely looking like Rathian is kind of running towards you, doing one of its charge attacks, trying to, like, leap on you. So this is pretty cool. Overall, the colors are pretty standard stuff. It has Rathian's green here, going all the way down the main body and on the outer side of the wings. It's very hard to make out the patterning on the wings here. On the outer side. On the inner side of the wings, you can't really see anything down there. There's a bit of scales on the legs and whatnot. The face is not too different here. I think it's very comparable to the Rathalos from the previous gallery collection as well. But again, like I said before, these are pretty good to just kind of have as something that you can just put on a table or on a corner somewhere. Maybe like a work desk. So I guess we'll take a look at Keizu next. Which, the one thing that I do like about this is the fact that Keizu has like a white base. But overall, Keizu is Keizu. I don't like this monster. So, you know, it is what it is. Like, there's not a whole lot of detail on Keizu here. A lot of the spots on the back are kind of just very flat white. There's very small pink pigmentation towards the membranous wing, I suppose, and a bit on the bottom of the feet. But outside of that, there's not really too much to talk about here. Not a fan of this monster, and yeah, it kind of just looks very plain compared to the rest of these here. So I guess we'll take a look at Nargacuga next. So yeah, when it comes to the colors on Nargacuga, I actually do kind of like what they did with the blue here. There's like a nice dark blue all around the body. Makes Nargacuga look very stealthy. Typically want to attack during the nighttime, so blending in with the darkness, with that dark blue, looks very good. Some very small, I guess, pinkish pigmentation on the wings of this wyvern here, and yeah, I do like how the oranges or the reds here by this fin here, also by the eyes, are pretty noticeable. There's not much detail in the eyes. You can just see that the eye here is just a yellow circle. There's not really much there at all. But pose-wise, I do like this, especially when you have Nargacuga posed at this angle here. Just the way that the tail is coiled upward in kind of like a half-moon shape. I do think that looks really good. Does make a very cool silhouette, especially with these bladed wings pointed upward at an angle like that, especially at the back wing there too. Looks very cool pose-wise. And again, I do like this series because of the base here. I do like the fact that there's a bit of grass here, with Nargacuga looking like he's stalking some prey. So, not too bad on that end. If we look at Zinogre, so Zinogre is the only one in this set that actually doesn't use a peg to stand up, so Zinogre is a bit more freeform compared to the other ones. So we look at Zinogre. Zinogre's colors, I feel like his colors could look a little bit better here. His greens are actually quite washed out, to be quite honest. It almost doesn't even really look green, to be quite honest. It's almost like a very faded blue. So it does look a little bit weird. Even like the bones around the back, these little spikes even going up to the tail, are a little bit washed out. There's not a whole lot of color going on here, which I'm a little bit disappointed in this, to be honest. Like, I kind of expect that from this line, since it's a bit cheaper and they're much smaller. There's not a whole lot of detail going through them in the grand scheme of things, but like I feel like the color accuracy could have been a bit better here. I'm definitely not a big fan of how Zinogre looks color-wise. The eye is not too noticeable here, and the spikes on the head, they look all right. The spikes and then the fur on the back is kind of blend in with the spikes. So overall, color-wise, I'm not the biggest fan of this. I do like the pose. Again, very similar to Nargacuga, where the tail is coiled up in like a half-moon shape, which I do like that. If you're looking at him from a broadside like this, he's also looking towards you. So you get a lot of the different body features of Zinogre from this angle. It does create a nice silhouette as well. So overall, it's not too bad. Then we look at Silver Rathalos here. So Silver Rathalos, pretty much using the exact same pose that they used in the previous collection here, but of course this time he's silver. So the silver is quite shiny, actually. I actually do like that. Like, once light hits this thing, it is pretty eye-catching. You can just see how the light reflects off of that silver, especially on the outside of the wings here and on the inner side. Of course, it does carry the same flaw that I had with the other Rathalos, and that's the patterning on the wings are not completely accurate. Some things are missing, right? Especially on the backs of the wings. The back of the wings just look very plain. You can barely make out that black stripe that goes down the top of Rathalos' body here. But yeah, just looking at the eye, just barely make out a bit of an orange circle right there. But overall, it's alright. Very standard, very comparable to the Rathalos from the other set. But last but not least, we're going to take a look at Valstrax, which I purposely saved this one for last because this one honestly looks the best out of this whole set here. And I do really like the color aesthetic here. Again, another silver monster. We have some very shiny silvers that do reflect light quite nicely all throughout the body. But definitely like the most eye-catching thing here are these oranges here, which is obviously supposed to be simulating that energy that comes out of Valstrax's wings here, that bright red crimson energy. And it's not even just the interior of the wings where like we actually see these parts, which would normally be where the thrusters are, but also the exterior, like the outer side of the wings here on this side. We have such a deep red color on the edges of the wings here, and I do like how that flows from silver into that red there. I think that looks really good, to be quite honest. Again, it would be really cool to see this particular pose in a larger scale with a bit more detail. Like, that would be really cool, but I think what they've done here with this smaller version of Crimson Glow Valstrax is actually very good. Even the eye is actually very noticeable here. It does pop quite a bit out from the silver scales, as well as like the black part of the nose right here. Looking very good, and I really like the pose here. Looking at it front on, I do like how you have like the wings pointed towards you. It's pretty much like it's about to blast you with those wings. The tail, again, coiled at the back. He has his left front leg upward, like he's about to attack in that direction, which I think is very cool. But overall, I think the colors, especially compared to the rest of the set here, the colors here are actually very, very well done. Very well done. Like, it's not completely accurate to Crimson Glow Valstrax, but just in terms of what they've done with these miniatures, I think this is definitely the best one that they've done so far, even compared to the Volume 1 set as well. But yeah, that is pretty much everything here within the Monster Gallery Volume 2 here. If I were to pick my favorites, I think it's very easy to say that Crimson Glow Valstrax is easily my favorite of this set. I'm actually surprised because I was usually I have a bit of a bias for Zinogre, but I was actually quite disappointed with this Zinogre. Just the color accuracy and whatnot is just not really there. It's just not that good looking, in my opinion. So Valstrax clearly steals the show here. It is easily the best looking out of all of these. I guess the top three: Valstrax, probably Nargacuga, and then I think it's a toss-up between either Zinogre or Silver Rathalos, I guess. But I think I might just go with Zinogre a bit more since there's less inaccuracies with Zinogre, because at the very least, I think for the most part, Zinogre's features are there. Rathalos, of course, like I mentioned before, has a bunch of stuff missing on the top of its wings. This really just has the color accuracy just a little bit weird, but I think Zinogre would definitely be my top three. Would be in third place here. Least favorite, easily going to Keizu. There's no competition there. But yeah, that's basically it. That's going to conclude this video here. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys found it informative. There's definitely going to be a lot more Monster Hunter figures and collectibles and content coming in the future, so I hope you guys stay tuned for all of that. But until then, I hope you guys have a good day or good night, depending on where you are, and I will see you all later.